To all those above me that watch over me, to all of you, my fave parapeeps on this side of the veil, welcome. This is Reverend Shawn Whittington's Paranormal Ministry. I'm your host, Reverend Shawn, the Rev. Welcome to my haunted house, my very haunted house. Been quiet today. Um, got a great show ahead of you. I will get to my guest as soon as I can because lots of you have reached out to me excited that he's here, and hopefully you've tuned in. And I haven't visited with him in a long time, so I'm excited. Um, what else do I want to tell you guys? Let's check the prayer urn real quick. Pastor Burton. I am very familiar with Pastor Burton. He wants me to bless his congregation today, the whole congregation. This weekend he will be doing baptisms, full submersion in the holy waters. And I happen to know, I've talked to Pastor Burton recently, and he suspects that some foul play from the other side of the veil has been visiting his church, visiting some of his parishioners. He's going to be doing some baptisms this weekend, so he wants me to bless his congregation. And I just know right off the bat which two prayers I'm going to use for him. They're right in the front of my Catholic prayer book. Okay, these are both for Pastor Burton and his congregation. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Under thy protection we seek refuge. O Holy Mother of God, despise not our prayers in our needs, but save us always from all danger. O glorious and blessed Virgin. Amen. Holy Mary, Queen of Martyrs, pray for us. Amen. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Saint Michael the Archangel, defend us in battle. Be our protection against the wickedness and snares of the devil. May God rebuke him, we humbly pray. And do thou, O Prince of the heavenly host, by the divine power of God, cast into hell Satan and all the evil spirits who roam throughout the world, seeking the ruin of souls. Most Sacred Heart of Jesus, have mercy on us. Most Sacred Heart of Jesus, have mercy on us. Most Sacred Heart of Jesus, have mercy on us. Amen. Okay, let's check the mailbag, the ministry mailbag. Do I have anything in the bag? Oh, there we go. There's one at the bottom. I've been in that bag all week. I left one in here for this weekend. Who is this? Jerry P. from Texas wants to know, I'm putting together a new paranormal team, Rev. What do you recommend? Good or bad training them at a graveyard? Okay, I'm going to get hate mail on this. There was a time where I would have said, absolutely go for it. I myself, back in the day, gave paranormal tours of a very haunted pet cemetery here in town. And there was also an empty home on the land that the original owner of the pet cemetery lived in most of her adult life, died in the home, and her spirit remained in the home. So I would give people tours of the pet cemetery. It was very active. Finished the tour inside the home, visiting with the spirit there. But now I've changed a lot over the past few years, and now I do not recommend training your team or doing paranormal investigations at a graveyard. And it's a long story why. But I would recommend you just get your team together. Have meetings before going out and investigating locations. Make sure everybody knows about all the equipment, how to use it, they're familiar with it. Make sure everybody goes over the do's and don'ts and rules, your rules as the team leader, on what you expect from everybody at the site. And discuss ahead of time, teaming up, breaking the team up into teams so nobody's alone anywhere. And go that route. And the more you guys get out there and do your thing, it'll be like on-the-job training, and that's where you'll get your training. Unless everybody you have on the team are already seasoned veterans and have many years of ghost busting under their belt, that's always worked best for me. I don't have a team anymore since becoming ordained and working cases of a very different type. I got to the point where I didn't want to worry about my team members anymore being subjected and exposed to the types of things that my wife and I are exposed to. And in fact, I don't even like bringing my wife along anymore because I worry about her. But she's stubborn and she insists on working cases with me. So it's just my wife and I now. But I think teams are great. I wish you the best of luck on your endeavors with your new team in Texas. A lot of haunted places in Texas. So good luck to your brother. And thank you for tuning into the show. I appreciate it. If there's anything you guys want to know about my wife and I and our ministry work, go to our website, www.ghost-b-gone.biz. When you go there, keep in mind my wife and I don't charge for our ministry work, helping people with their paranormal issues. So I know times are tough, but if you go there to visit and you notice the donate button and you're able to do so, click on it and send in a small donation. I promise you it'll be appreciated from the bottom of our hearts, and trust me, we will put it to good use. In addition to being an ordained exorcist, I'm also a certified spiritual advisor. If you're having issues of a spiritual nature not attached to the paranormal and you'd like to speak to the Rev about that, you can make an appointment there at the website to speak with me. But don't leave the website without going over to the page called the WSE course/book. You'll find the Ghost Store there. Lots of cool things to purchase in the Ghost Store, like this awesome throwback Ghost Be Gone coffee cup. You'll also find a lot of other things in there if you go for that sort of stuff. But scroll down a little bit, you'll run into my new haunted autobiography, God, Ghosts, and the Paranormal Ministry. And I quote, the scariest book I ever published. That was Annette Munich, owner of Stellium Books, my publisher. But don't let that scare you off of purchasing a copy. It's a very different kind of feel-good story where a lot of good versus evil, where good wins. But if you haven't done your good deed for the day yet, pick up a copy. You can get it autographed, enclosed in a house blessing kit on the website, or a little less expensive on Amazon. But the beautiful thing is part of the proceeds of every purchase of every copy of my book goes to support stjude.org, St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital, Nevada, and the ASPCA. So you get to do some good stuff, including help the animals a little bit and the children. Scroll a little further down, you'll see the Worldwide Society of Exorcists, which I am a founding member. I offer a college-level online course, Introduction to Spiritual Warfare, through the WSE. And this is the course for all of you warriors for Christ out there that feel a calling and want to have more knowledge when it comes to drawing your line in the sand, circling the wagons, putting up a good fight against, God forbid, true evil if it ever comes calling. That's the course for you. All of my students that graduate get a stunning diploma, certificate of completion, suited for framing, along with some other very special blessed items that you can only get from yours truly, the Rev. You can sign up for the course at the website. If you'd like to read more about the course before making that type of commitment, there is a Worldwide Society of Exorcists Facebook page, or you can just call me and ask me about the course, and we'll talk a little bit and see if the course is for you. Most importantly, please keep all of my former, current, and future students in your prayers. Thank you, and God bless each and every one of you for tuning in today. Okay, time to bring on my guest. He's a friend. You all know him. You all love him. I haven't visited with him in a while. I'm excited to have him. Abracadabra. Here he is, Bobby J. Gallo.
I love that. What a great intro.
Hey, I can do the magic thing. What do you think?
I thought it was perfect. Oh my gosh. We're going on the road together. This is going to be awesome.
Let me tell you something before we get started here. I love you. I respect you. I'm so happy you're here. I love the hat.
Thank you.
I can't pull a hat off. Why can some guys pull a hat off? I mean, you're a cross between Indiana Jones, Wyatt Earp, and Father Marin.
Oh, that's
Uh,
funny. That's
I
funny.
can't pull that off. How can some guys pull them off and some can't? Do you have a theory?
Yeah, I do. You have to try on 1,000 of them before you get the one that actually looks good. Because I'm telling you, I had a vision. I wanted something that I could do my investigations in, and something a little different than what I normally wear. And even as a magician, I wear a hat because if you see, where is it? Right over there, right behind me. That's my magician's hat, right on my shelf there. And you got to try them on. You got to try them on. So
You probably got to bring the wife too, because
yeah,
what you think looks good on you've got to make her promise ahead of time. She's either going to give you a come heareth look or and then
Well, the funny thing is like this is actually the first show where I've actually worn the hat. So this is kind of like an exclusive here. And I actually wear this hat on the cover of my new book as well.
Cool.
So
I'm glad you brought that up. Before I forget, and you know what? I don't mean to do it. Sometimes I get people on and I get excited, and there's so many things I want to talk about. I don't have a ton of questions for you. I'll tell you why. What I do have, my viewers make it so easy for me. Early in the week when I post who's going to be on, I start getting questions for the guest from people. Hi, I'm so happy you're going to have Bobby on. Would you ask him this for me? Would you ask him that for me? So I just write these down. They make my job easy. So I have some questions for you from some of your fans and followers. But before I am rude and forget to ask, tell everybody about your new project with the book. I am hearing great things. I know you've asked me to be a part of it.
I did.
I'm yours, brother. Whatever you need
That's
from me.
awesome.
But tell people about the inspiration behind this book. It's going to be great, and when they can expect to be able to purchase it, and what are your dreams and hopes for it, and all that good stuff.
Well, thank you very much. Well, as you know, I in late 2019 we published our first book, and it's actually right here. And Family Spirits: The Adventures and Evidence of Gallo Family Ghost Hunters. It was actually a pretty large book, almost 300 pages. And what it was is a combination of a paranormal primer, but also a walkthrough of 60 investigations that I had done with my family.
Wow.
And, investigating some of the most haunted locations in America, basically, a father, mother, and 2 kids. And when we were going out, they were kids. And we had some great experiences and we had some scary experiences. And we, as you did mention, we do have somewhat of a following. And the people that were following our web series, they wanted to know what happened behind the scenes. They wanted to know what the car ride was like on the way home from some of these, more negative experiences. So I said, well, if I wrote a book, would you be interested? And everybody said, oh, absolutely. So we wrote the book, and I had no idea what was going to happen. We hit number 3 on Amazon in the adventure travel category. We actually sold more copies overseas than we did in the United States. And it became like this like underground phenomenon I wasn't expecting at all. I mean, they just did phenomenally well. So, we rode that a little bit. And then, of course, the pandemic hit. And it's kind of funny because even though people were staying home, they still weren't buying books. And, everything just kind of like crashed. So now we're kind of like trying to, get the momentum going again. But, there was a lot of things that I didn't really talk about in the first book because I was kind of like walking a tightrope and I was tiptoeing around certain subjects. I didn't want to offend anybody. And then as I look across the paranormal landscape today, I'm seeing things that are a little concerning to me. So I said, okay, these kind of dovetail with the very things that I was leaving out of my first book. So I said, let's talk about those things. And I asked Renee, my wife, I said, what do you think the central theme of a second book would be? Because, of course, we want to include the investigations that happened after the publication of the first book. I said, but we need something else to talk about. And in the first book, I talked about virtually everything I know. Renee knew what it was supposed to be immediately. She says it needs to be about the purpose of what we're doing. It needs to be about why we're doing what we're doing. And then I said to myself, yes. And conversely, why people out in the field and all of these thousands of people that we're seeing on YouTube, we need to discuss this. So that we need to get some kind of a discussion going, because I think the paranormal field in a lot of ways is going down the wrong path. And that's really the theme of the new book. And, I could talk about that a little bit more, but I actually want to show your viewers something. This is going to be the big book reveal on your show. The cover reveal, they call it. And this is actually a big thing in the world of publishing when you do the cover reveal. So this is a new cover, folks. I'm going to put it up to the camera. And there it is right there. Family Spirits 2.
Wow, that's beautiful.
Yeah. And the subtitle is Purpose and the Paranormal. So
Wow,
Family Spirits 2, Purpose and the Paranormal. And that's basically what I am talking with. I'm doing a number of interviews in the book, and you're going to be one of them. We haven't done our interview yet, but I've done a great many of the others. And I'm asking people all the same thing. I'm asking them questions revolved around purpose in the paranormal. Because look, here's what's happening right now out in the world. When we started doing our web series back in 2011, you could count the number of people doing paranormal web series on one hand. And that's no exaggeration, because there was a paranormal TV network back around that time called GTN. And their goal was to be America's paranormal superstation. In fact, that was the subtitle underneath the letters GTN. And they begged us to let us put our series on their channel, because there was nobody else doing it. And they only had Chris Halton from Haunted Earth was doing it, a group called Paranormal Detectives, and some people that weren't even involved in the paranormal. Laura Calhoun was one of them, and us. And, after we got out of it for a number of years, after a really negative experience we had, we came back when I started writing Family Spirits. And I logged on to YouTube, and I was stunned at what I saw. Literally, not hundreds, but thousands of people trying to become famous by having their own web series, which is not the reason why we were doing it. We were looking for answers. We were looking for the truth. We were looking for evidence of the afterlife. But not only are they doing it, but they're doing it and they're in the subject matter. I saw one guy the other day saying a demon tried to lock me in a crypt, and they're trying to get more sensational and more sensational. And they're all shooting these videos on cell phones, and they're all using these phone apps, this new thing called Necrophonic and all this other stuff. And I said, wow, something is wrong here. This is not where I thought the paranormal field was going to go. And some people are doing really risky things. And you, as an exorcist, wow. I mean, guys cutting themselves and bleeding on Ouija boards to try to get something to manifest and all of this kind of stuff. I said, okay, this is the subject of my new book.
I'll let you in on a little secret real quick. I hate to interrupt you. I'm so sorry, Bobby. If any of those people that are on these shows that are really going over the top and, doing their best, Zach Baggins, if it will, and I love Zach, but if they're over sensationalizing that and going over the top of that, they haven't. I know, and this is going to lead to another question in a little bit down the road here in the interview, but I usually know they haven't really been confronted and touched by true evil, or they wouldn't even be going down that road and behaving that way. And now I'll throw it back to you.
No, you're absolutely right. In fact, to this day, my wife and my two kids are really cautious when we go out on investigations, because we had that brush. And I'm not even talking about that in the new book, because it was kind of personal. But suffice to say, this would have been more than enough for most people to leave the field entirely. It concerned an attachment. It was the real deal. and how to call in, a priest and all that other stuff just to get rid of that. And it caused a 7-year hiatus from what we do. But here's the thing, people aren't stupid. The world watched as 2 plumbers and 3 random guys became millionaires with all of the trappings that go along with that, merely by hanging around in the dark with a K2 meter, talking to somebody who's probably not even there. And what is the average person out in wherever see? What they see is, wow, this is my chance to become famous. I don't have to sing. I don't have to dance. I don't even have to tell a good joke. I don't even have to do a good card trick. All I have to do is take a video of myself in a dark place saying, "Ooh, what was that?" And I could become famous too. I could become a millionaire. And that's what we're seeing. We're seeing this because people on YouTube, they think all they need to do is get to 1,000 subs and they start making money. They're in for a rude awakening because, first of all, it takes more than that. And second of all, YouTube usually pulls those accounts like they've done to thousands of other people, including us. Us, we had 60 episodes, we had tens of thousands of views, and they pulled our account.
Wow.
And Daily Motion, while they didn't pull our account, they now no longer monetize paranormal and UFO subject matter because it's deemed controversial. And so right now we're on Vimeo, ghosthunter.ws, because that's our own channel, so we can do whatever we want. But that's the subject matter of the new book. And honestly, Rev, I don't know how many friends I'm going to make on this new book once they read it, but I feel some of the stuff is what needs to be said.
Well, I got a question for you in here from Greg Koss. I hope I pronounced your name correctly, Greg. Thank you for the question. It says, where did all of your investigations take place in your first book, Mr. Gallo?
Thank you for the question, Greg. Basically, they took place all up and down the East Coast. We started ghost hunting when we were living in South Carolina. And wow, there were a great many places in South Carolina to investigate. And what we tried to do more times than not was investigate places on a hunch that were off the beaten path. Have we done famous haunted locations? Yes. However, we did stay away from the old lunatic asylums and the prisons, and we didn't do residential cases because they tend to get really heavy. Yeah. But we did do a lot of, and I know you, Rev, you just talked about cemeteries, and I can tell everybody right now to heed that advice because that's where we had some of our negative experiences. But we did cemeteries, let's be honest here. We did. We also did a lot of historical locations like battlefields. The couple times we did famous locations was the Castillo de San Marcos down in St. Augustine. And we went up to Salem and we did some things up there. But mostly battlefields, cemeteries, and things of that nature. So it was, we tried to cross the whole gamut. But if you do read Family Spirits, you're going to read about a lot of locations you've never heard of. And they were the most active ones, by the way.
Let me ask you this question real quick, as a fan of the Gallo family. In addition to you being a handsome man, your wife and your daughters being adorable, other than that, what do you think the appeal of that? I see a lot of families who have taken their shot at being, the next famous ghost busting family. Mm-hmm. You guys have done it very well. What do you think the actual appeal of the Gallo family ghost hunters are versus some of these other families that haven't been able to pull it off very well?
Well, number one, the first most obvious thing is we were the first ones doing it as a family. There's no question. And I think very few people will argue with us on that just based upon the timeline when we started. But I think the number one thing is, when we went out, I learned something about my family I didn't even know. I mean, I had these kids, and I knew my wife for many years, but I had no idea that they had psychic talents, which only manifested once we started doing these investigations. Like, let me give you an example. Renee, she used to work the dowsing rods. Now, she doesn't do them anymore after that experience I was talking about. But she used to work, but it was like nobody had ever seen. And I had no idea. When she picked them up, it was like she was using them her entire life. She would communicate and yes and no, completely motionless. I've had people from all over the world examine our videos and watch her hands. Flowers for Emma is a great episode if somebody wants to see her work the rods. You've never seen anybody do it like her. Nicolette is an empath, my oldest, and she was able to sense the emotions of these spirits on every investigation. She can absolutely tell you how they were feeling at the time. My youngest, Courtney, could see orbs. I know this is a controversial subject, folks, but let me tell you something. Not only could she see them, but she would point to where they were, and we would either take pictures or videos, and we would capture them on pictures and videos exactly where she was pointing. She could see them. And me, I was just Mr. Showbiz. I was taking video. I was doing all kinds of things. I don't know what, I was kind of like the backbone of the group. But the real talent was my wife and my daughters, without question. And I think there is the secret to what we've been able to do.
Keep up the good work. I'm a big fan. I know you have a lot of other fans out there. You're also a magician.
Yes.
And I'm thinking of a story I want to tell you about a good friend of mine. Recently, him and his wife have moved to Utah. But for many, many years, they owned a haunted antique store about a 30-minute drive from Gettysburg. Many spirits in that store. Many spirits, they became very fond of them, and some have followed them to their new home. But he, over the years owning that store, had many reality paranormal TV shows come to him and want to film there. And a couple, he wasn't interested in that type of attention being drawn to the store. But then a couple of times he almost said yes, took a good look at the contract, and both times at the very bottom in real tiny fine print, you had to sign off giving them permission to fake stuff if they didn't capture any evidence. And so he would turn them down and say, no, I can't do that.
Yep.
So being a magician and knowing a magician versus ghost hunter, ghostbuster, if you will, when you watch these shows,
yep.
I'm not a big fan of the shows. There was a time where I watched them quite a bit, not so much anymore. Are you able to see the fake because of your talents and your background as a magician also, or are they that good and able to pull it off?
That's so funny that you mentioned this, because just very recently I caught them faking evidence on a very popular, probably one of the most popular ones right now. And I really, I don't want to mention the name of the series.
That's okay.
Because,
that's okay.
But but I'll tell you what happened. I'll tell you what happened, and I'll tell you what I caught. Here are the two main stars of the show. And they set up REM pods in the house. And for anyone in your audience that doesn't know what a REM pod is, it's basically a unit that has an antenna, and it creates an electromagnetic field around the antenna. If anything comes and breaks that electromagnetic field, an alarm will sound. Therefore, if nothing's around this REM pod, you know that something triggered it that cannot be seen. So we're thinking, okay, this could be paranormal activity. Well, all of a sudden, during the show, the REM pod goes off. And I said, wait a minute, that's odd. And I replayed it back because it is on Discovery Plus. And all of a sudden, I'm looking at it again, and what do I see? It's in a hallway. And on one side of the hallway, I guess there was a room. Somebody was in that room, and you could see their hand going up and down, breaking the electromagnetic field and making the REM pod go off. Apparently, the producers did not catch this, but I did, because I look at it with a trained eye. And people love this show, but I'm a member of a Facebook group where they kind of like try to debunk. I said, okay, you guys love these people. You want to debunk? Well, here's something that you should see. And when I pointed it out and they went and watched the episode, a lot of these people were crushed because they trust these people. They exude trust and they exude trustworthiness.
How much of that, another question I want to ask you, how much of that do you think sometimes is pulled off without even the stars of the show knowing that it might be something that the cast and crew do and don't really let the talent in on it?
That's a good point. That's a great point. And you know what? You know the star of Paranormal State, Ryan Buell, right? Mm-hmm. That was one of the first paranormal series that really made it big. But I recently met him up at the Warren Seekers of the Supernatural Paracon, which we sold out of every book of a copy of Family Spirits, by the way. He said during his lecture that they wanted him to do certain things in the show, and he was absolutely opposed to it. He would only do everything if it's on the level. And that's why he says sometimes if you watch Paranormal State, some of the episodes are pretty mundane while some of them are spectacular. And that is exactly like Gallo Family Ghost Hunters. Because in Gallo Family Ghost Hunters, I tell people right off the bat, some of the episodes are, they're long and not much really happens, but some of them are going to blow your mind. And if somebody really wants to see one of the better ones, I just tell them what it is. But I wanted to put the whole scope of things out there, which is why Fiona Broom, who did the foreword to my first book, actually said it was the best part of her foreword. She says, this is ghost hunting how it really is. We don't fake anything. That's why we say real family, real life, real ghosts.
Because what I love about you also is if you sit in the dark in a location for 5 hours and nothing happens, then you show that, because that's part of reality too.
That's right.
A lot of people don't realize that 90% of ghost hunting is sitting in a dark room somewhere at an abandoned location for hours, and sometimes even just falling asleep and waking up when the sun comes over the horizon, and you're all, oh my God. You go back and you check all your film footage and see if you caught something, and more times than not you didn't, and
absolutely.
Greg's back. Hi, Greg. He wants to know, did you spend time at Gettysburg? I wonder if he's asking you that or me. And you know what? This is going to lead to another question I have for you, which I wasn't going to ask you today, but it's probably for you if you've been to Gettysburg, since you mentioned battlefields.
Yes. Well, we did it twice. The first investigations, which is there's actually 3 of them in Family Spirits, but in the new, we actually went back to Gettysburg. And this one was just Renee and myself. And this was just very recently, and it's going to be in Family Spirits 2 in the investigation section. We actually caught a full body apparition.
Wow.
In the middle of the day. We have one piece of equipment called the Spirit Touch device, which they don't make anymore. It's my favorite piece of equipment, which works on the same technology as a cell phone. It takes an exchange of human electrons to make an LED light go on and off. So it can't be interfered with outside EMF or anything. If that light goes off, something touched it, period. That's just all there is to it. And something, not only did it touch it once, but we had a ghost keep touching it. And I said, well, you're here. Would you mind if I take your picture, since you're letting me know that you're here through the Spirit Touch? And we didn't get any EVP saying yes, but I'm taking pictures, and boom, there he was. And you could see him. You could see the Civil War style hat. You could see his backpack. I mean, it was just a stunning capture. And that's the second time we've asked a ghost to pose for a picture, and the second time that one did.
That's amazing. And here comes my question for you. I believe, in my humble opinion, there's 2 people in this field. Those, like you mentioned earlier, that just think that they're going to become famous. And then there's the other group of people who, whether they know it or not, they're passionate about investigating the paranormal and trying to
100%.
prove there's life after death. But they don't realize, most of them, the passion comes from having a sensitivity to spirit. And like your daughters, they
Yes.
realize that after they get into the field, they realize they have these gifts. Um, Having said that, I ran right to, and, I'm stalking you this week, trying to prepare for the interview. I go to the website. I go and to look at watch some of the videos. I actually went to www.ghosthunter.ws.
That's it.
That's where I saw the videos, and I'll tell you why. Hopefully you laugh at this. I went there going, oh, but after all of this time, certainly I'm going to get to watch him and his family investigate the famous Gallo farm in California. Remember last time I interviewed you, I said you and your family have to go out there and Gallo investigation.
Yeah, that would be
I
fun.
didn't see it, but what I did see there was a pleasant surprise. I have never seen anybody investigate Valley Forge. And it reminded me when I was a little kid, my family took me there. I've been seeing spirits since I was little. The only one I could really confide into was my mother. And I remember seeing soldiers there and talking about it.
Yep.
And everybody, was kind of giving me the side eye. My mother kind of knew he's probably really seeing soldiers there. Talk to me about Valley Forge. I loved that.
Well, thank you for recognizing the fact that nobody ever investigates Valley Forge. And while there was no fighting at Valley Forge, 2,000 soldiers perished.
So much suffering.
Oh.
And that's where the tide turned, wasn't that? Yeah, there was shortly after that we were either going to win or lose big time, and that was a pivotal moment.
Correct. And there is actually one of the stones monuments in Valley Forge says it's inconceivable what the men suffer. And I said to Renee, and it just so happens that my daughter is going to university down in that area. And while we're down, I says, we have to go. So we got our equipment ready and we went, and the Valley Forge is absolutely huge. And there's really not a lot there, except for some huts. Some were rebuilt to show what the huts looked like where these men lived. But there are ruins of some of the original huts. And Valley Forge goes up into the woods. It goes all over the place. So it was a challenge to find a hot spot. And in a lot of the places, we weren't getting a lot of activity. And I says, oh man, this is a bust. But I said, the tragedy that these men, there's got to be some kind of residual energy somewhere. And that's when we went to the Virginia encampment, and that's where we really got some incredible activity. We went in there, we experienced battery drain, and we were using one of Gary. Are you familiar with Gary Golka by chance?
Yes.
Gary Golka.
Matter of fact, somewhere around here, I think I have an actual millimeter somewhere.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there you go. I try to talk to him as much as I can on Twitter. He's a great guy, but he came out with a new piece of equipment called the Crosshair thermal detector. And basically what it is, it's a professional version of a ghost radar. And it's a round panel with LED lights, and it shows you, it pinpoints exactly where thermal anomalies are taking place, like where temperature drops are happening. And this thing was just kept pointing to one spot. It's like he's right there. And I would talk to him, and then it would point. You could see where every time I would say, I know you're right there, it would move somewhere else, like it was trying to avoid me, like, wow, this guy could really see me. And then while we were taking it, we had a fully charged battery. I said, once again, I asked, can you pose for a picture? Now, this wasn't a full body apparition, but all of a sudden when I asked that question, Renee's camera died. Oh, fully charged battery died. I said, okay, here it comes. I said, quick, get the cell phone out, start taking video with the cell phone. And normally I don't like taking it with a cell phone, but it's a backup video card. Oh no, sorry. It wasn't a cell phone. I have my infrared Bell & Howell S7 Slim on video mode. That's what we used. And all of a sudden, boom, exactly where we were getting the anomaly, we got an orb about that big with a face in it, almost as saying, I don't have a lot of energy. I can't do the full body apparition thing, but here you go. This is what you're getting. And we got it. And then just as we were leaving, we did some quick video, and I said, it's back again. The IR thermal detector was going on again. And in the video, you can see this orb just circling the detector. And it's really cool. And we have that on that video that you were watching.
You know what I love in you explaining that, and we'll get into some equipment here in a second, but it's like we're all made up of energy, and
Right.
then you've got the energy that's stored in these batteries and these equipments that we use, and the spirits, they just don't they don't do it on purpose.
No.
But we don't know how we look to them, but we do know that our life force, however that looks to them on the other side, is something they don't have anymore. And so it's a very attractive. And when they come to that, we get drained, your batteries get drained. And I don't believe it's nothing that they're maliciously doing. Of course, there's malevolent entities out there. And then when you're under attack, it's a different thing. But when the spirit's trying to communicate, they can't help that they appear as an orb. They can't help that when they are trying to communicate with you, they're draining you and draining your batteries. It is what it is. But I'm always tell people after all of the money I've spent on a ton of equipment, my wife too, and there was a time where she banned me from eBay. Now after all these years, my wife and I are both sensitive. She, like your wife, still uses the dowsing rods. She grabs a throwaway 35 millimeter camera that we'll stop and pick up at the drugstore.
Mm-hmm.
I have a couple of video cameras, but I like the same type of camera she likes to use. I use the little handheld voiceover recorders from back in the day that still take the little cassette decks. But her and I are both our own best pieces of equipment. And I tell people, if you know you're sensitive to spirit, you're your best piece of equipment, and you can do this on a budget. And nowadays I also use my phone a lot. I'm going to put your feet to the fire. If you had to go do an investigation and you can only take one piece of equipment, and that is your go-to, you can't really see yourself having a successful investigation without bringing that one piece of equipment, what would that be, and what nowadays is one you would never use again?
Oh, wow. Really, really good questions. The one that I would, if I could only have one thing in my hand and nothing else, it would be my Sony Night Shot Handycam. And because, as I've said in Family Spirits, the first book, without documentation, all you have is a good ghost story. So I like to videotape everything. In fact, Gallo Family Ghost Hunter started by accident because I have to videotape everything, even if because I just felt like, let's capture whatever we can capture. That being said, we've gotten incredible EVPs on our Handycam microphone. We've had more than one time spirit talk, not through the EVP recorder, but through the actual video mic.
Yeah.
And since it's also an infrared camera, sometimes we can catch anomaly right on video. So I'm going to say it's going to have to be my and to this day we still use the same video recorder. I actually was able to find another one on eBay, and just to have a backup, because I absolutely love that camera, and it kind of gives the videos a little vintage look, which I actually kind of like, just different than a modern cell phone or high resolution video camera.
Richie was just on there. He says, I like this guy. And it might be Shelly. It's either Shelly or Richie, or maybe both of them. They like
Thanks,
him.
Guys.
I like him too. He's a good guy.
Thank you. Thank you. Richie
or Shelly or both of you, you got to go to www.ghosthunter.ws. All of his videos are on there. You'll very, very cool, him and his family. And you know what? And I feel, please forgive me for not asking this right off the top of the show. The last 2 years, the world has been turned upside down and crazy. How has you, your family, everybody close to you that you love, uh, how have they done through this whole pandemic thing? Is everybody okay?
Everybody's fine. We've all had it. We've all
Wow.
had COVID at least once, all of us, including my 83-year-old mother who kicked it like that, thank God. Um, yeah, because she was in a nursing home and it went like wildfire through the nursing home.
Wow.
So yeah, we all got through it. And it's been rough on a lot of levels though. I mean, as far as the book go, like I said, book sales just dropped off like right off a cliff. But that's not the important thing. The important thing is everybody's health. Let's be very clear about that. But it's affected our lives in so many different ways, obviously, and I think everybody can relate to that. We're now coming out of it, and we're looking to do some really cool things. We're looking to do some more Paracons this year. We did 2 Paracons last year. And both were unbelievable successes. I did mention the Warren Seekers of the Supernatural Paracon in Waterbury, Connecticut. And that was the first time, excuse me, first time for that Paracon. We sold out of every single copy of Family Spirits. And I had one dog-eared copy that I would like go through and show people things. And somebody even bought that copy. They wanted it. And, we were next to some other people, like another radio show, and they were absolutely amazed. They couldn't believe it. They go, "Who are you? We've never even heard of you, and there's people lined up to get your book, and you have fans and a following." I always tell them, I said, because we are the best kept secret in the paranormal world. We have our following, and they're like really dedicated, but there's nobody outside of that. So we go to these Paracons, and they don't know who we are. It's very funny.
I have another question for you. Then I'm going to have to get to some of your questions here from some of your fans and followers,
Sure.
or I'm going to get hate mail. We just had a big paranormal conference, convention, Paracon, whatever you want to call it, out here in Vegas.
Yes, that was big.
My wife and I were just about to pick up the phone, and we were going to be a vendor there. And then I got a phone call, and I had to go to LA for a couple of weeks and work on a project, so
Okay.
I wasn't able to go. I hear it was a big success. Did you make that one or no?
I did not, but I had so many friends who were there, and every one of them were saying, "Why are you not here?" Wow. And I could have met Josh Gates because we are huge fans of Josh.
Oh,
Gates.
I love that. That was the reason why I wanted to go.
Oh,
believe it or not, of all the people that were going to be there, I wanted to meet Josh.
He would be number one on my list. I just think he's so entertaining, and
if he sees this, and I doubt he will, but if he sees this, he's going to want the hat. His brown one's getting a little beat up and old over all the traveling and shows and stuff he's been involved in. He needs a new one. He's going to want that hat. He hasn't been in a black hat yet.
No, he has not. He's not. He's got red hair though. I don't know if it would match you. The brown kind of works for him. But anyway, I wasn't at the Para-Unity, but I had a ton of friends who were there, and a lot of them that I actually met at the Warrens. And then we did the Phenomenology in Gettysburg. That's I believe that's Jason Hawes' event, and we did that one as well.
How close are you to West Virginia?
Not horribly far, honestly.
Because Dave Spinks has another good an event coming up here in next month in West Virginia there, and that brings me to another question. And I got to get to some fan questions.
Sure.
Cryptids. His event's going to be in a haunted town, and he's got a store there which is all about that. But he's a big cryptid guy, along with being a paranormal investigator. You and the family go for that at all? Do you go for the cryptids at all, or not so much?
Well, look, it's all paranormal in the broad sense. And me, I used to be a Bigfoot denier. I believe it or not, even when I did still believe in ghosts. And by the way, as far as ghosts go, I passed the point of belief a long time ago. I used to be on the fence with Bigfoot. I'm not anymore. And there's a lot of evidence coming out to support it. And UFOs, now the government's saying they're real. So there you go there. But no, we were actually...
That Squatching seems like it's tailor-made as a family event. And I could see the Gallo family ghost hunters flipping
Well,
it on everybody and doing a squatching video.
well, we were thinking of going doing the Jersey Devil investigation because
There
we
you
are
go. And
very
Squatch has been seen out there.
yeah, in the Pinelands, Pine Barrens.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, no, I definitely would not. We've become so good at connecting with spiritual energies that if they watch something like that where probably something's not going to happen, it might be like, you know, a, opposite from what people would expect from us, but maybe that's a good thing. Maybe that's a good thing. Like we were talking about before, maybe we should have some more episodes where it's just strictly reality based. We get something, we don't, we don't.
Here's a two-part question. When you go out investigating with the family,
Mm-hmm.
do you hear rumors that it's either you hear rumors it's an allegedly spirit-infested location or possibly not? You're going to find out if it is or not.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe you already know ahead of time that allegedly demonic activity maybe has
Mm-hmm.
malevolent entities have been there. Do you tend to, if you know ahead of time that there's rumors of malevolent entities, nasty poltergeist, real, for lack of a better term, forgive me, pissed off ghosts
Mm-hmm.
or demons, God forbid, do you tend to avoid those areas, or do you just jump in the deep end without the floaties on, take what comes at you, and if that's the approach you take, how do you protect you and your family?
Okay. I will address that last part. The first part is no, we avoid it like the plague. And here's the thing. My job as a ghost hunter or a paranormal investigator, whatever you want to call me, is to document evidence of the afterlife. I do not have to do that by going after some demonic entity or in a place that has a really bad reputation. I can do that. I could connect with benevolent spiritual energies just as easily and get my evidence.
Let
I
me
am
tell
not.
you, you could do that in your house right now, I bet you. As much investigating that you guys have done, and as you guys are wonderful people, you're good natured, you've got good karma, good auras, you've got good souls. You probably have a fair share of hitchhikers, ghost hitchhikers that have attached to you guys, and you don't even know they're there, and they're not malevolent, so they're not hurting you or scaring you. You
And
could probably do an investigation in your home and come up with evidence.
you're probably right, but I have two cardinal rules basically when it comes to ghost hunting. One is don't ghost hunt in your home. And the
Yeah.
reason is we may very well have things here. I do think this house is haunted. However, you don't want to attract from the outside. You don't want to become a beacon. And when you start calling on spiritual energies, they do come to you. You want your home to be your sacred space. That's number one. My other rule of investigation is do not take anything home from an investigation. I don't care if you say, "Oh, that's a cool rock," on top of that tombstone. I'm going to take that home. Don't do it because haunted objects are a thing and they're real. And I can tell you firsthand, I know they're real. And so you want to leave the investigation at the investigation. Gather your evidence and take that home. Take your experiences and take that home. But don't take any objects home and don't ghost hunt at home. So those are my two cardinal rules. Oh my gosh, Greg Backett. Oh my gosh. Do you know who this guy is? This is the
I
guy.
haven't talked to Greg in forever. Yeah,
This
Greg,
is the
I've known
guy.
Greg forever. He says, "Hi, Bobby. Great to see you."
This is the guy who's going to be writing the foreword to Family Spirits 2. Yep.
Well, there you go. There you go. That sells the book right there.
That is. Well, I told you.
Greg's a great guy. I
I
haven't
told
talked
you
to
I was
Greg in
going to get
forever. I'm gonna have to talk
superstars.
to Greg.
I
I don't
told
know.
you I
I
was
don't
going
know
to get.
why. Just like with you, it's been a year. I don't know why it's been a year. It's been a long time since I spoke to Greg. I'm gonna have to reach out to Greg and ask him
Greg's
why
awesome.
he's avoiding me.
He's not avoiding you. We had a blast up at the Warren Seekers of the Supernatural Paracon. Yeah, and that's and it was shortly after that when I said to myself, Greg would be the perfect person to do the forward to the book. And so here
Okay,
you
I
go,
gotta
Greg, it's
get.
on the show.
We've
it's
got
on.
about 6 minutes left, and I haven't gotten to one of these questions from
Let's
the
do it right
fans.
now.
Yeah, I better get to them, or I'm going to get hate mail the rest of the day. Oh my gosh, some of these you've already answered. Someone wants to know how your Christmas and New Year's was, and do you make any New Year's resolutions?
Yeah, yes, my Christmas and my New Year's were fabulous. Thank you very much. And my New Year's resolution is the same as it is every year, and that's to lose a little weight. I'm sorry.
The wife has had me on Nutrisystem since October, and you know what? I've stuck with it. And these things, if you and my wife is like, I don't know anybody. I've never known anybody that has the willpower you have when you finally decide you want to do something.
That's correct.
That's me. So, it's like I prayed to God one day, many, many, many years ago. I was a raging alcoholic and drug addict. And one day I actually just asked God, I said, listen, I know you're real. I know you're real. I know you love me, and I love you.
Right.
I need help here. I don't want to take any more drugs or drink anymore. Help me. I kid you not. I can't remember how long it's been. I woke up the next day, and it's been years and years, and never a desire to drink or do any drugs since that day. Never did that with the diet, though. But for some reason, I was sitting there talking with the wife, probably heading back to the kitchen table with my third plateful helping because she's a phenomenal cook. I have no willpower. So I'm coming back to the table, and this Nutrisystem commercial comes on. And my wife just happens to glance over and says, listen, what's it going to hurt if you give that a shot? If you don't like it, fine. But I went for it. I like it. I'm sticking to it. I feel better. But I'll tell you, I said to my wife, you buy them at a month at a time, and these big freezer box shows up, UPS, this big other box. I'm eating out of a box. I'm eating out of the freezer. But I said, is this, she never tells me what she spends on anything. She says, actually, it's far cheaper for me to have you on Nutrisystem. As much food as it is that you get delivered here, it's much cheaper to have you on Nutrisystem than it was shopping for you before. And I'm like, did I eat that much? She's like, well, yeah.
Nutrisystem,
yes, but
you need to be a sponsor of this show now. Nutrisystem, you need to be a sponsor of this show now.
So it is what it is. But what else does somebody want to know from me here? I already asked you about somebody actually asked about the Gallo Estate in California.
That's funny.
You got to do that. Gettysburg. You already talked about Gettysburg. You already mentioned you believe in ghosts. Okay, here we go. Demons. You mentioned already that you believe in demons. That ship has sailed. We can check that box off. What about demons, angels, good or bad? I talked many times. We've got just a couple of minutes left. Do you believe in demons? And any advice for people who think it's cool to antagonize them, poke the bear, search them out?
You have absolutely no idea what you're dealing with. And look, you could be a paranormal investigator and a ghost hunter. No, as a matter of fact, I encourage it. But you have to look, it's just like in life. Do you want to go down the good neighborhood, or do you want to go down the worst part of town without any protection? Come on. This is the same thing, except these entities you can't see. And that being said, getting back to what the Rev asked me before, we carry blessed medals of St. Benedict on our investigations. And I'm a big believer in it. But you have to believe that it's going to work. You have to have faith in it, and you have to go with good intent, or else you could have all the talisman in the world and it's not going to mean anything.
I love you, brother. I respect you. I'll be looking forward to doing an interview with you for the new book. I'm honored you would ask me. Thank you for spending an hour out of your busy, and I know you're one of the busiest people on the planet, an hour with me on a Friday with my viewers. Give your wife a big hug and a kiss for me. Give both your daughters a big hug from the Rev. God bless you. You're on the prayer list. I will have you back, and I got to have you on the Monday show too again. It's been too long. Have a great remainder to your Friday evening.
Thanks, Rev. It's an honor to be on your show, and I appreciate it from the bottom of my heart.
You got it, brother. I'll be in touch. God bless you. Good night, Bobby. Oh, my gosh. Bobby J. Gallo, www.ghosthunter.ws. He's got a new book coming out. He's already got a book out. Um, I am going to light a candle for some of the reasons. I'm just feeling the urge to do this for everybody. This is for each and every one of you who tuned in today. Transference of energy can be a weird thing. So God bless each and every one of you. Everyone within the sound of my voice, may the Holy Spirit enter and intervene in your life and remain there with you for the remainder of your journey and on to the next. Amen. And this candle will continue to burn for each and every one of you until it's done burning out. Thank you to my rock star producer, Adrian Hart, who happens to be filming an episode for Haunted Hospitals. So she's not with us today. You're going to rock it, Adrian. Good luck to you. Couldn't have happened to a better person. Her rock star assistant, Jack Clayton, is filling in for her today, which he does many Fridays. He's a rock star. Thank you, Zach. Thank you to Things Network. Thank you to the Paranormal United Network, both for simulcasting my episodes there. And for each and every one of you that don't get into prayer, but are just good people, here I'm going to throw a few rules of life at you real quick. Number one, make peace with your past. Because if you don't, it's going to disturb your future. What other people think of you is none of your business. Time heals almost everything, so give it time. No one is in charge of your happiness except for you. Don't compare your life to others and don't judge them. You have no idea what their journey has been. Stop thinking too much. You don't It's okay to not have all the answers. And smile. You don't own all the problems in the world. I love you all. Thank you all so very much for tuning in. I will be here next week. The 18th. You all know him. You all know him. All know him and all love him. Mr. Rick Garner will be here next Friday, the 18th. I love you all. Have a blessed week. Enjoy the Super Bowl. Enjoy Valentine's Day. Good night, Jack. Good night, Dog. Good night, Harold. Rest in peace. Good night, Ernie. Good night, Bill. Good night, Dan. God bless you all. I love you. Peace. Good night, everybody.